Hey everyone, and welcome to Earl Grey. We have a very, very special guest this episode. So, this is Anna Duong, the host of My Notes App, the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, guys. My name is Anna. And yes, I am the host of My Notes App, the podcast.
So, Anna and I actually met at university. We're both studying the Bachelor of Communication Media at RMIT. And last semester, we took a class called podcasting. So, can you tell us, what is this podcasting class and what kind of podcasts did we learn about?
This podcasting class was actually a very interesting class. I first wanted to take this class because I wanted to start a podcast myself. But we did learn about a lot of different podcasts, um, especially the ones where they were like the storytelling element of it. Podcasts where it would basically like create a story accompanied by the narrative and like different sounds and music that would be a part of it. So yeah.
So, how would they kind of like set the scene to immerse you in the story in those podcasts?
So there were definitely a lot of elements that went through the podcast. One thing that really stuck out to me was getting like sounds, like ambient sounds from nature to really like create the scene. One exercise that we did do together, like during the class, was go outside and basically create a story surrounding Melbourne. And we would record the sounds of the train or the trams in Melbourne, people walking, the sound of like the button when you cross the road and stuff like that. Just like cre collecting all that to like really bring in the story and bring the story together.
And this is something that we'd keep in our own like personal podcast, like sounds library as well. So when we went on to create something with an interview, we could then go and incorporate those elements, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So we actually worked together on the first like project that we did for this class. So what was that project about?
Basically, our project was when we had to like think of an instant where a song really stuck out to us. Um, I talked about um the song Fireworks by Katy Perry, and I made a story about your song, which was from Dirty Dancing. What was the song called again?
Hey baby.
Yeah, Hey Baby. But that was around, I really connected to your story about like you going to formal, but then really like bringing it back and seeing like the big picture of like how that like you watched the movie and how that incorporated into your life and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a really fun exercise. And so I interviewed you about Firework by Katy Perry. So this came on when Anna and her boyfriend were in the car driving home after a date. And with the guidance of the teacher, Lisa, like I had the interview and I had no idea what to do with it. And Lisa was the one who kind of helped me identify that we could tell this story of Anna being a longtime Katy Perry fan, talking about how Katy Perry had instilled this idea of what young love is in Anna and also in me and any other kids of our generation. And then that moment with Anna and her boyfriends when the song came on the radio and they were singing with the windows down and all of that just being like, a music video moment, a real a connection with Katy Perry kind of moment.
That's definitely how it felt like during the moment. So you captured it perfectly.
And within that, both of us used So we did use the songs that we mentioned, but we also used different like ambient sounds. And I remember that Anna's one started with, because I was talking about a high school formal and all of the stresses of year 12. She started hers with the school bell and the chatter of people walking to class, grabbing their bags and things like that. And I just remember like the moment I heard that school bell, I just imagined in my head just being back at high school. It was, again, there's something about audio that you can just, really pick out sounds that will transport people back to that place that you're trying to tell them about.
Yeah, it's like you don't need like any visuals. You can really like close your eyes and like visualize it yourself and like feel like you're in the moment as well, which is kind of crazy because it's just sound. But yeah.
One thing I've also noticed as well is when I was taking the directing performance class with Sebastian, so this is another class offered in our course. Basically, he showed us a scene from a movie first without any like visual. So basically, like if we were watching it with a blindfold, and we were able to gather so much about that scene, figure out so much about that scene just by listening to it. And then when he showed us like the visual, we then kind of learned like from that how important audio is. So I know when people talk about movies, they're always like, oh, the graphics, they look amazing. The CGI is great. The color grading, the acting, amazing. But honestly, just like the audio component is so, so important in making these movie so immersive. And to be able to do that in a podcast is pretty cool, to be able to create something that is just audio, but is just as engaging.
I 100% agree. Because, like, the power of audio is just like you can take a movie and, like, have no audio. And when you add the audio, it creates, like, a completely different mood. And you can, like, switch out the audios and it's, like, a totally different story that you're telling. So I definitely agree with that.
I think that's part of the reason why when we went from silent films to talkies, that talkies just took off like so fast, was because when people realized that they had this whole other like, area to play around with, like the possibilities are endless.
Mhm.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on SYN. For more information, visit syn.org.au, syn.org.au.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. Joining us once again on the show is Anna Duong, the host of the My Notes app podcast, which is basically like a bit of a journal, a bit of a guide to navigating your 20s, hosted by someone who is in her 20s. So, welcome back to the show, Anna.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, on your podcast, one of the episodes talks about body image and self confidence. Why is it important to have these discussions about those topics?
One of the reasons why I made that like one of my topics, like one of my first topics, is because I was definitely struggling through body image issues throughout like my teenage years up until now. Like I'm still insecure about a few things, but I know that, it's a journey and like every step of the way it's going to get better. So for me, the reason why I talked about it is because I think other people can relate to that as well. Because I know it's not only me going through this, it's constantly my friends telling me about it, my coworkers, literally anybody, even people in like their 30s and 40s, even my mom tells me about it. So I think it's a really important topic to talk about and just feel like we're not alone, like in this journey, like everyone is going through it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely something that a lot of us can relate to. And the episode really resonated with me. And I wanted to ask, what can you do to feel more confident in your own skin?
I would say talking to people, like talking to your friends, and really like being able to like have good friends to even talk to about the issue, and like having them have an open mind about these issues, I feel like is a good way. I would say, let me think. I have it in my notes app actually. Let me just pull it up.
Now, Anna doesn't show her notes app to anyone. It's like top secret information. So if she's giving us like the inside scoop, this is like a super, super exclusive thing.
Yeah, this is like a full insight to my brain. But for me, I would say positive affirmations. So telling yourself that, you're that girl, or like you can do this, really channeling your mindset into like a person that you want to become. For me, it's like listening or like surrounding myself with people like that, or like being just like thinking about like someone I look up to. For example, someone who I do look up to is like Bretman Rock or like my fam, and like trying to like emulate the way that they act and the way that they think, and then becoming the best version of myself like through them, type of thing.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it as, kind of thinking, what would Brightman Rock do? How does Brightman Rock feel confident? And I was actually going to say, when you mentioned affirmations, my mind instantly shifted to Jay Shetty. This is one of the people whose podcasts I listen to. I will say
Mhm.
I'm not very good at finishing podcasts, but with his, I've
Yeah.
actually been getting through quite a few of the like solo episodes. So he does 2 episodes per week. One's usually a really, really long interview. So he has a lot of celebrity guests on. And then the other one is basically him sharing some wisdom. He used to be a monk. So he's got some really interesting insights into different things. And with
Yeah.
affirmations, he kind of talks about, making sure that it's not just standing in the mirror and being like, looking good, honey. Like you'll stand in the mirror and you will say, I look beautiful. And then you will try to do that every time you see your reflection in the mirror, to kind of like get it in your head. No, I am beautiful. And that is what I'm looking at when I see myself in the mirror.
Exactly. No, that's literally perfect, because like I did that myself. I remember I just had to change the negative thoughts and change it into positive ones, even how like hard and cringy it was, like just doing that. And also just like listening to podcasts. Like podcasts really helped me change my body image and like the way I looked at myself. So honestly, like if you could listen to podcasts, like listen to as many podcasts as you can.
Are there any ones you'd recommend?
Oh, I have one. This other girl who's also like in her 20s. It's called The Psychology of Your 20s, and she really like breaks it down into like like going into like the psychology of everything surrounding that. So I think that's a great podcast to listen to, I reckon.
All right, cool. We will definitely add that to our Spotify, like, find it, follow it. And with that in mind, it is time for us to go to a break. So, giving you guys a little bit of time to go and follow that podcast and also follow my notes app.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on SYN. For more information, visit syn.org.au, syn.org.au.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. I'm joined once again on the show by Anna Duong, the host of My Notes app, the podcast. So, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody.
So, behind the scenes, we were talking about the pros and cons of having like a radio show versus a podcast. And so we kind of wanted to bring this to you if you're listening and you're interested in maybe starting your own podcast or maybe starting your own radio show. So then you can hear like both sides of this and decide for yourself. So, Anna, why did you choose to do a podcast as opposed to, starting a vlog or doing anything else?
I would say it's very easy to start a podcast nowadays because everything's like in the palm of your hands pretty much. Like you don't have to have a fancy microphone. You can just have like your phone, which pretty much like everyone has, and Spotify we all have, and just like uploading it onto Spotify with like a voice recorder is just like the simplest thing to do. And I feel like it's a lot more intimate than like TikTok videos or YouTube videos where there's like a lot of cuts. This feels like more of like a conversation where you're like with your best friend. And I feel like that's a good reason why to start a podcast.
Yeah, I agree that there's definitely something very personal about having a podcast and being able to connect with someone through audio. So, with that in mind, I will say I actually tried to start like this show as a podcast. So, long story short, it was going to be called Unscripted and it was going to be a bit closer to the other Sin show, Artsman, with more like arts and culture guests. The only problem is that I found it really, really hard to like expand beyond my network. I just wouldn't hear back. And also, I realized that I would struggle to talk because I'm doing more of an interview based thing, whereas Anna's is more of like, a journal entry, a little glimpse into her mind. I'd struggle to do what Jay Shetty does, where he will talk for over an hour and a half. Like, I do not know how he does it, honestly.
No, I just find it difficult to like if I don't have like my notes app up, then I find it difficult to like talk for a long time period of time without like having cuts. So it's definitely useful to have like notes before you go into it. Yeah.
I will say for our interview, I've actually got notes, but after like the first segment, I just started trusting my intuition a bit. So I will say that with with radio, having that experience being a presenter on other Sin shows has given me like that kind of, I guess, the ability to trust my intuition a bit more and not rely too much on notes, which is it's really good. And also I feel like it's made me just a better conversationalist. When you have a conversation with me, I just feel like I'm getting slightly better at it, which is boosts my confidence.
Yeah. That's such a plus. I'm so happy.
And I wanted to say, so if you're starting your own podcast for the first time and you don't know what to talk about, is there like, how did you decide, like, hey, I want to talk about my 20s? That's like my niche thing.
Um, I feel like for me, I've always had it like I've always journaled, I've always like wrote stuff down. So that was definitely a first step in like what I wanted to talk about. Because my note app is like full of like just journal entries, stuff like that. But one thing that also helped me was like asking ChatGPT like questions that I could ask people or like talk about. Because I don't know, ChatGPT just is such a life changer, uni wise, like anything wise, writing resumes. And you just chuck it into there, and then they will have like prompts for you to talk about. So, yeah.
I actually have to say that ChatGPT also helped me. I'm not very confident with sending emails, so ChatGPT has helped me send out emails, helped me send out messages to get guests, and it's even given me some suggestions of what to talk about with you, which is really, really good. It's such a great tool. And
No,
yeah,
it's so
I think it's really cool that we both use it. So, with that in mind, uh, one thing that helped me pick like just a general chat show was talking to some of the people who I'd interviewed for Unscripted. Basically, the interviews ended up being unusable due to technical issues. But basically, they gave me some suggestions to expand it and make it a bit broader so then I could have a range of different guests and it wasn't so limited. Because I honestly think if I had kept going with the idea for Unscripted, I wouldn't have chosen to have you on the show. So, yeah, having those like different interviews is really, really good.
yeah, because that's so much more of like a reach of different people in like different areas. So that's so good.
Earl Grey is produced for radio broadcast on SYN. For more information, visit syn.org.au, syn.org.au.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Earl Grey. We have had a wonderful episode talking with Anna Duong. So she is the host of the My Notes app podcast. Where can we listen to it?
You can listen to my podcast on Spotify. So far, I just have it on Spotify. Also on YouTube, if you wanted to head over and see the video version. My YouTube is Anna the Rat. On Spotify, it's My Notes app, but I also promote on Instagram. So that's Anna X Duong.
Cool. And also, I want to say if you ever want to get involved in radio, then you can head over to SYN Media. So this is syn.org.au and sign up to become a volunteer on any of our shows. So I would definitely recommend joining a flagship show like Arts Mitten or Get Serial. And yeah, you will have a really good time. You'll meet a lot of people with shared interests. And if you're wanting to learn more about SYN, also check them out on Instagram at SYN Media. So yeah, thank you so much for being on the show, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me.